What's happening, YouTube? Another one-shot take video. This is gonna be a strategy-based video, and let's talk about running numbers. I'll get into a more detailed video next time, like with the whiteboard and numbers and examples of what to do. But let's just talk about running numbers, and I'll tell you how I run my numbers, even as a wholesaler, flipping properties. Let's go. So, a lot of people, a lot of new investors ask, like, how do I run my numbers? And it's very important, right? Whether you want to be an investor, landlord, or a flipper, or wholesaling, running your numbers is super, super important. But let me tell you something that, number one, that I've made a mistake on doing as a wholesaler and even flipping properties. And a lot of mistakes that I see a lot of people make. So number one, wholesalers. I love wholesalers, man. I love you guys, man. But some of you guys are exhausting. And I think after doing it for a couple of years, I have a certain standard that I do with my business. And it's all professionalism and everything. But a lot of wholesalers, when I notice they run their numbers, they just don't understand how to actually comp a property. When I say comp a property, how much this guy's actually worth. That's the first mistake. And if you know the term ARV, which is after repair value, that's how much the house can sell after you fix it up. I don't know. I see a lot of people all over the place. Sometimes, just to practice, I'll take that same address and I'll look it up on the MLS and come up with the ARV. And I'm talking, we're off. And a lot of times, new investors overestimate the ARV and they underestimate the repair value. So they'll say a house that's really worth $200,000, they'll say, oh, it's worth $220,000. And then they'll say, oh, it needs $10K worth of rehab. And that messes up the numbers. And so what happens is that investor goes to that appointment and says, whoa. Man, this needs at least $25,000 worth of rehab. And this is really worth, $210,000 or $200,000. So if you're running numbers, this is what I'm going to suggest you to do. Now, the very first thing is to get the ARV correct. Like, it's like a test. Like, let's just put our name on the piece of paper. Get the correct ARV. The way to do that, in my opinion, this is my opinion, get comps from a realtor. That's it. You can go to Zillow.com, Redfin.com. There's videos out there like Jerry Norton knows how to really do it really well. If you're gonna really do the online Zillows and Redfins, really take your time to do this. Master it, because you'll be all over the place when it comes to your ARV if you don't do this right. I suggest reaching out to like 10 to 20 realtors. Let them know what you're doing. Try to network with the real estate agent and let them know, like, hey, can I get, comps? I'm trying to run properties. Maybe you give them a fee every time you do it. What I used to do, I reached out to about 20 real estate agents. Found this one guy, right? Roger, cool guy. And I told him, like, hey, when I close a wholesale deal, do you mind if I just go ahead and pay you for all the comps you give me? And I was asking for quite a few comps, but I paid them. Every time I closed the deal, I paid them a couple $100 here, $100 there. And I was able to find the ARV because the MLS is the most accurate way, right? If I'm going to run my business, let's do it the most accurate way. So that's the number one mistake. People get the wrong ARV. They overestimate the ARV. And then they underestimate the repair value. Like, $10,000 rehabs, very hard to come by. you know, 15, 20, depending what you're doing, right? If you're flipping, you know, $20,000 is a good starting base if you're doing barely nothing. But my suggestion on that is to get a contractor to maybe walk through with you, take some really good pictures, find a contractor and say like, hey, you know, how much would a kitchen like this cost, right? You know, just roughly, you know, we're talking 5,000, you know, 10,000. You know, underestimating that repair value is super important. Because if you're $20,000 off, $10,000 off, that affects the numbers in a major way. So when you run numbers, always add some padding to your numbers. That's what I do. So I may purposely see a property sale for $275 and say, okay, ARV is $270. And then I'll try to overestimate the rehab. So if I see it's a simple boy, 1,200 square feet or something, I say, okay, I could probably get away with 20. Let's say 25. Let's play around with 30. That's how I run my numbers. So I overinflate my rehab number, and then I'll kind of undervalue my ARV. So if I know I can probably sell it for 280 for real, I'll say 270. Let's play around 270, because if I make those numbers work, anything above that number is a win. So I undervalue my numbers a little bit. Some people fluff their numbers, but I don't over fluff my ARV. I stay conservative with my ARV, and then I try to make sure my repair budget, if I think it's going to be 30, I try to say 35, and I even play around with 40. And if those numbers still work with an overinflated rehab number and a regular ARV, then I know it's a deal. So when you're wholesaling, it's so important to get that ARV correct, right? Even if you come in a little lower, just get it right? I'd rather them say, well, your ARV is a little bit lower, but your rehab is pretty much on point. Okay, so that means the deal works, because you're going to probably sell it for $10,000 more anyway. So undervalue that ARV a little bit, maybe go $5,000 lower, but knowing that you can sell it higher, and overinflate that rehab number. And if you don't know what the rehab even costs, which I didn't know either, find a contractor, go over some pictures, or have them come on an appointment with you. So that's my strategy right there. Hope you guys take that, and I'll see how that works.